If it does happen, does prescription make much difference to anybody?
Yeah, it does. I'll try and explain why. But I think, first of all, we have to congratulate the government. You know, we petitioned for this to Boris Johnson in May 22, not long after the invasion, when Wagner's terrorism was already very visible. Then we gave testimony at the Foreign Affairs Select Committee on the designation. And finally, the government have come around and are moving towards it. So it's excellent.
And what does it do? Explain what difference it makes.
Well, formally, what it does is it criminalizes Wagner. And why is that important? Because it means that anyone who materially supports them is also commits a criminality. So that deters people from dealing with them, for one. There is an increased level of financial sanctions that go against them. And it deters the facilitation of their finances. But lastly, I think the other really important thing, which often gets overlooked, is the stigmatization. Remember, they recruit soldiers. A lot of those very same soldiers fought in armies around the world against terrorism. They don't want to go home to their wives and say they're part of a terrorist organization. And nor also remember, as a mercenary group which has raped and pillaged Africa, propping up dictators, the dictator will think twice now about connecting and funding and paying for Wagner as a terrorist group, not least because they won't be able to come to London and do their Christmas shopping anymore.
That's a good point. And they are a mercenary group, so they're liquid. They make money. That's how they do these deals with various countries, including Russia. Does that mean it's possible you could see them in court, Jason? Do you think you'll be able to get them in court and get someone to award damages for the Ukrainian people that you would then be able to guess? Is there a route to getting money out of these people, do you feel?
Yes, there is. I mean, to just clarify one point, the point about Wagner, which makes them very interesting and their form of terrorism, is that they are state sponsored by Russia, of course. Russia uses them to commit illegality in its foreign policy and pays Wagner, as does other dictators around the world and kleptocracies. So that is the nature of the beast. And what they do is they're very different than a normal private military company. They go into these countries and they commit war crimes. They commit crimes against humanity. They're doing it for politically motivated violence, which is the classic definition of terrorism. And if we go back to the case and how we're going to sue them, yes, we'll be suing them like we've sued terrorist organizations in the past for victims over the last 3 decades. It's the same sort of organization, which is exactly why they should be designated. And you go for their funders, those who materially support them, and those who facilitate their finance and pay for them.
Did you see the thing of the boss of it complaining on a video that they were going to pull out of Bakhmut, I think it was, because they weren't getting the funding of, they weren't getting enough support from Russia? I wonder how solid that relationship is. Maybe it's as solid as ever, or maybe it's starting to fracture as the war gets more and more difficult in Ukraine.
Well, I hope it's starting to fracture because I'm hoping that Russia sees sense in not employing a monster like Prigozhin to do its dirty work and that it stops. But I suspect if you look very carefully at what Prigozhin was saying, he never once criticized Putin. It's very much directed against the generals. But we'll see how that plays out.